Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in. You fucking skifoos. Our true enemy has yet to reveal himself.
Sup, internet? Raggedy Adams here. Man, I didn't want to have to do this, you know. I mean, I don't enjoy being, you know, that guy who's got to complain about everything. But I feel like I need to be the voice of the minority here. I fucking hate the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I really do. And I've tried, I swear I've tried to go in with an open mind, and I just don't like them. People have given me shit about this, you know, it's just like, oh, you know, I thought they were okay, I thought they were good, you know, why have you got to bring everyone down with your overcriticalness? Well, I did English language and literature and film studies for A-level. I'm a drama student, but I did film studies for A-level. And ever since then, I can't really watch films without being hypercritical of every little thing. I just can't help it. You know, I wish I could. But the fact is I do. And knowing that stuff doesn't necessarily make me happier. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Good films that have layers of film language, in the same way that books have syntax and subtext and levels of depth to them that, you know, just are below the surface or whatever. I wish that, you know, I didn't have that problem with films. Some films I can just switch off my brain. I don't think, you know, that's necessarily a good thing, but sometimes I can. The Amazing Spider-Man films are not those kind of films. And the reason that they're not those kind of films is because I remember seeing the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films at the cinema and just being blown away by them. Even the third one, you know, I enjoyed it the first time, I hated it the second time, but there were things that I enjoyed that first time around that couldn't quite be lived up to on multiple viewings. And rightly so, it's gained a bit of notoriety as the bad Spider-Man movie. Let me tell you something, guys. I long for the days when Spider-Man 3 was the worst we had to deal with. I swear to fucking God. Because then at least we'd still have 1 and 2 to kind of even it out. Now we've got the third one, which was, you know, bad. I mean, there are bits in it that, you know, you could maybe let slide if you were like me and just like really forgiving of Sam Raimi. And, you know, he's got enough of a back history that I'm prepared to forgive him a certain amount. But then you've got Amazing Spider-Man 1, which I didn't believe the hype, I didn't enjoy, and it just didn't sit well with me. And then they made a sequel. But in order to talk about Amazing Spider-Man 2, I am going to need another drink because I'm empty. So, uno momento. What to say about Amazing Spider-Man 2 that I haven't already said? And the only reason that I bothered to see this film was because I kept getting shit for complaining about the franchise and people saying, oh, you haven't seen it. How can you possibly have an opinion on it? Well, I went. I gave it a fair shot. It didn't even disappoint me. It just made me angry. Because I know that there are better uses for these characters than what's currently going on. The film is, without a doubt, utter tosh. Overlong, overloud, underwritten, produced by committee tripe of the worst kind. Honest to God, this makes me long for the days of Batman Forever. Everything that is wrong about this film is largely to do with paying more attention to making everything loud and shiny and expensive looking, and just not investing in trivial little things like story and plot and character and making things believable. And even if you're one of these people who, you know, does actually like the story and the characters in these films, you have to kind of look at it and realise that even the heroes in this are terrible people. You had like a few glimmers of like interesting stuff dotted amongst it, but every story beat, every character one-liner just felt really leaden and the relationship dynamic at the center of this is incredibly troublesome. I mean, even if you believe in it for a second, which I do not, it essentially is along the lines of Peter Parker can't commit to Gwen Stacy because he's afraid of endangering her. And yet, at every opportunity, he goes out of his way to be really just almost misogynistically sort of provocative towards her. As if that's his way of breaking down her defense, and it just rubs me the wrong way. I know people who have struggled to find people because they're introverted. This is not Peter Parker. This is some douchebag version of Peter Parker. And the thing that makes it worse is I like Andrew Garfield. I like him as an actor, and I hate that he's saddled with this version of this character. But the thing that annoys me even more, the thing that just makes me so sad for this franchise, is what Emma Stone has to put up with. I mean, she supposedly is dating Andrew Garfield, and let's just draw a line under this. Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst were supposedly dating during the making of Spider-Man. Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman were supposedly dating during the making of Star Wars. That doesn't mean bull crap to me at this point. It's immaterial. But some critics have argued that that is the explanation for why there is chemistry between them. And maybe that's true. I like Emma Stone. I liked her in Zombieland. I haven't really seen her in anything else, admittedly. But I liked her in Zombieland. I think she's a good actress. I think she's got a good career ahead of her. Some people have managed to make her more interesting. Others have kind of made it worse. But be that as it may, the treatment that she gets in this film makes me sad. Because you can see that she's trying to make this character more important than she obviously is on paper. Emma Stone deserves better. Gwen Stacy deserves better. I can scarcely even talk about anything else in the film because there's barely anything to talk about. The villains are, you know, just a whitewash. Electro is really annoying because it's a rehashed version of the Riddler from Batman Forever, but with none of the comedy because, you know, it's played by Jamie Foxx and he's playing it straight. And, you know, I love Jamie Foxx, but, you know, he's better than this. Paul Giamatti, I can't. And Dane DeHaan, I want to say that he's better than this, but based on what little I've seen of him, which is essentially the Metallica movie, there's nothing to say. Like, everything to do with the villains at this point is just fodder for the sequels. We've got at least 2 Spider-Man movies coming yet, and a Venom movie, and a Sinister Six movie. And some of you are thinking, well, that might be interesting. No, it won't be. It's just a cash grab. They're basically just going to milk this franchise until the nipples fall off. That's all they've ever cared about at Sony. And, you know, the big fucking Sony logo at the beginning, could you any more sort of hint at this being, like, the future of your franchise? Just, like, going up in flames if it doesn't make, like, a ton of money. I should barely bother to even reiterate my complaints with this film, because it's essentially all the things that I hated about the previous film, but just again, and louder, and dumber. Because it's written by the same people who did the fucking Star Trek reboot, and the fucking Transformers movies. I swear I wanted to give this film a chance. You know, the only pleasure I got from watching this film was knowing that I would be able to rail against it and rage against it with impunity. Because you fuckers made me do this, okay? You only have yourselves to blame. I wanted to leave this alone. But so many people were like, oh, you can't possibly complain about something that you haven't seen. Well, you know what? I haven't seen all of the Twilight movies, and I still know their shit. Okay? I saw the first one on a bet. It didn't change my mind. But at this point, you're asking yourself, well, Adam, what are you going to do about it? You've already paid to go see it. It's already made millions at the box office. They're locked into doing however many sequels. It's going to happen. Why fight it? I fight it because I care. Because I know in my heart that they can do better. This is my ticket. It's a student ticket for £7.30, which, you know, £7.30 for a student ticket. I, Raggedy Adams, aka Adam X. Smith, officially demand my money back. I'm putting this out to Sony. You owe me £7.30 for The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Fuck it. I'm going to do the South Park thing. You know, what they did with Passion of the Christ. I challenge Sony to pay me back personally. Because I don't believe in punishing the distributor. Even though, you know, let's face it, it's massively overpriced. I don't feel like picking on Odeon. I'm picking on you, Sony. I am holding you accountable for this shitty movie and this series of shitty movies that you have got spread out in front of me. And if I'm right, and I'd like to think that I am, people who agree with me will do the same. So I'm asking you, if you hated The Amazing Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and you have your ticket, and you can prove that you've seen it, or that you've purchased a DVD or whatever, ask for your money back for Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2. I am holding you accountable, Sony, for how this franchise progresses. Because I used to enjoy going to Spider-Man movies. I used to fucking enjoy going to your movies. And now, or you could just, you know, continue on the path that you're going and just, you know, lose a couple 100,000, maybe 1 million, you know, on just people like me who are just sick of your bullshit. Never know. People might just boycott you. I did the exact same thing with Transformers, by the way. Second Transformers movie put me off for life. Haven't watched the third one yet. probably won't watch the fourth one when it comes out. Because I have principles. And I stand by them. And you should too. I am a regular film viewer. I wasn't paid to do this. This is just me off my own back. I am John Q. Public. I want better movies for the money that I pay. And so should you. You really should. Because if you don't demand it, who the fuck is going to? Oh, and just a little extra kind of little footnote for those who don't necessarily know. Some of you who maybe are Spider-Man fans, fans of the comics, fans of Ultimate Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2099, you'll be amused to find out that the producers of the amazing Spider-Man series have basically said that they have no intentions of showing any non-Peter Parker version of Spider-Man. Ever. That means no Miles Morales, the ultimate version of Spider-Man, no Ben Reilly, which is fair enough, no Spider-Man 2099. Basically, they've just said that they don't want to do that because reasons. Let me actually just read you the quote from Avi Arad. The one thing you cannot do when you have a phenomena that has stood the test of time, you have to be true to the real character inside. Who is Peter Parker? What are the biggest effects on his life? Then you can draw in time and you can consider today's world in many ways. But to have multiple ones, I don't know if you remember, but Marvel tried it, and it was almost the end of Spider-Man. Really? Really? There are multiple versions of Spider-Man still in existence, and you're going to use that excuse now, really. And the thing that makes this even worse, from, you know, my perspective at least, is they basically said that the only reason, and you're going to love this, the reason that they don't want to cross over with the regular Marvel Avengers Disney-owned version of it is because they want to wait until they've quote-unquote ran out of ideas. You know, for someone who is claiming that they want to wait until they've run out of ideas, you're killing a couple of decent ones in the crib by saying that. So that's my review of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. If you want some alternative reviews, you can find them in the doobly-doo below. In the meantime, Raggedy Adams out.